Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Osuna University. This is going to be organic gardening with Foxfarm. Our speaker here is Dawn. As usual, feel free to ask questions to the class. We'll hang around a little bit afterwards too in case more things come to mind. No big deal. Make sure that you fill out your raffle ticket. If you didn't get one, I'll come around and make sure everyone is set with that and a handout as well. We'll be giving away prizes midway through and at the end of the class, so make sure to stick around for that. We don't have a food truck again today, unfortunately, but next week we will. It'll be Squeeze Juice Bar, so if that intrigues you, come back next week. I think with that, I'll hand it over to Dawn.
How's everybody today?
Good.
It's a beautiful day today. It's much nicer than last spring. Which wasn't very fun. So yes, I am Don Anderson. I work for. I will go ahead and start the class now. So basically, we want to start with soils, and if you don't have good soils, if you don't have a good base, there's only so much you can do. You only accomplish so much if you don't have good soil. I'm from Colorado. I know what kind of soil you have here because it's going to be very, very similar to what we have in Colorado, and it's not good. It's very difficult to grow great vegetables in our soil. If you're working in organic matter year after year after year, maybe about 10 years down the road, you can have a good soil. It's not something where you're going to go and till a couple yards of compost into your ground and you're going to have this great garden that first year. It just doesn't work that way. So obviously you can do that, and it takes some time, and you eventually can get it to go good. Or you take the easier route, although it's a little bit more expensive route. You can buy your prepackaged soils. Our soils and a lot of our products are natural. They are not 100% organic because something 100% organic have to be living at some point in time. We have things like granite dust, sandy loam, perlite. Those are natural products that are in our soils, but they are not organic. They were not living at one point in time. Yeah.
So would you say there's any difference between amending with this and amending with cotton burr and cattle manure compost in your soil?
Cotton compost I like. Cotton compost is a coarse compost too, which like the soil conditioner, so I do like that. I'm not a big animal manure fan because of the salts a lot of times that are in there. And I know Osuna we do have a product that will help remove those salts from your soils. It's called Sledgehammer. I had a customer when I owned my garden center several years back, had a raised vegetable bed that they had brought in a bunch of steer manure every year and amending their soil, thinking he's doing this great job. But he wasn't having success. Of course, he was getting a little bit unhappy with me because I wasn't able to really figure it out. And so I say, well, let's send up a soil sample to Colorado State. Let's see what's wrong with this soil, because there's got to be something wrong with the soil. And he sent it up there, and it was real high in salts. And so we did that, and it was from the steer manure. And so we did the sledgehammer. It rinsed the salt out of his soil, and he was then able to use it. But that's the thing I don't like about the steer manure. Now, in small quantities, it's probably not a big deal, but over time, using it, you will get that, develop that, and salt it'll just kill your plants. So seeds or plants. Obviously, you're going to do seeds. You better get on it pretty quick, and you can still do. I think you can still do your pole crops right now. Your lettuce, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, peas, but like I said, you better do it quickly because you're running out of time on the cold crops. I think when's your date of safe frost? Is it mid-May or
17th?
28th of April? Okay. So that would be, I would wait then to the end of April to do your things like your pumpkins, your cucumbers, tomatoes outside. unless you do some sort of protection. And I'm sure Osuna has some protectionary type devices where you can extend your season, which especially with things like tomatoes and peppers, I think is beneficial. Because they do like that longer, depending on the variety, like that longer season. And with tomatoes and peppers, I would go plants. I wouldn't waste my time with seeds. It's too, or you should have started those a couple months ago inside if you're going to do seeds. But things like, you know, cucumbers, melons, corn, you know, things like that, they grow very quickly. You can start those outside, and you'll be just fine. I'm not a big fan of the of GMOs, which you probably, I'm sure Osuna has non-GMO seeds, but don't confuse GMOs with cultivars, because I know that heirloom varieties are a big deal right now. Everybody wants heirloom varieties, and heirloom varieties can be great. They can have great flavors, especially in the tomatoes. But there's reasons that those heirloom varieties kind of went away, because they tend to be more prone to diseases and insects. So you just have to be aware of that if you are doing some of those heirloom varieties. Some of the newer cultivars were specially bred to be resistant to those diseases and things like that. So cultivars are not a big deal. That just means somebody took one plant and crossed it with another. No big deal. It wasn't, you know, genetically modified. It's a completely different thing. So I think cultivars are fine. You're still probably not, especially on a tomato, is going to replace the flavor of an heirloom. So you might try, what I would recommend is try some different varieties. You know, maybe you try yourself an heirloom or two, and then you try some of the cultivars that, you know, maybe aren't going to taste as good, but maybe give you a little bit better production. Yeah.
Are organic plants any less or more resistant to the bugs around them?
There should not be any difference, whether it's grown organically or not. Bug resistance, insect resistance, well, bug resistance, no. Disease resistance, probably yes. Because you have more beneficial fungus and bacteria around. And when you have more beneficial bacteria and fungus that a lot of times they kill when they're not growing organically, then you tend to have less problems with like powdery mildew and things like that. Ladybugs are nice. You know, they're there and they're gone. You know, unless there's a real abundant food source there, you know, they'd probably do their work. You know, you'd release them, you have some aphids, they'll do their work, and then next day they're hightailing out. Now the one drawback a lot of times with ladybugs is the actual part of the ladybug or the life stage of ladybug that does most of the eating is the larval stage. And when people see that on their plant, they think their plant is being attacked because it doesn't look anything like a ladybug. It looks like a little dragon or something. It's kind of black and orange, and yeah, it's a weird looking little thing. But yeah, I catch how many people would come in and, what is this on my plant? I was, oh, it's fine, it's a ladybug larvae. You're good. You want those. So from that aspect, sometimes people mistake those for something that's not beneficial. But yeah, I mean, ladybugs are fine. Just don't expect that they're going to be. You know, in the spring, you're going to release some ladybugs, and you're going to be good for the season. Any more questions on seeds or plants? Yes. Worms are great. You know, we have earthworm castings in a lot of our fertilizers and our soils. We think earthworm castings and earthworms are great. So yes, if you can find, normally you can find red wigglers that you can buy and put them in your soil. You know, I think they do great. In vegetable gardens. Lawns can be a different story. Not that they're bad for the lawn, but you'll have this kind of going on in your lawn from earthworms a lot. So you don't necessarily want them in your lawn, but vegetable gardens, they're fantastic. Yeah, they basically break down nutrients in the soil and make them more available to the plants. Because even our clay soils around here have a lot of nutrients in them. The problem is that they're in such a raw phase that they're not available to the plants. And the earthworms get in there and they break them down and then make those nutrients available to the plants. So they're great. Now watering, I always find that in the morning, early morning is best. The less amount of time that you have water on the foliage of your plant, the less disease issues you're going to have. Obviously, not everybody can do that. So if it's nighttime, it's nighttime. That's okay. Like I said, I think morning is best, but it's not like nighttime is the end of the world. Also, the way you water. Obviously, you do something like a soaker hose or a drip system or a flood irrigation. I think those are better ways to water for a couple reasons. You're losing less water to evaporation. And you're getting less water on, again, the foliage of the plants. Kind of water. If you're using well water, that can be an issue. Again, in Colorado, and I'm sure Mexico's the same way, our well waters can be very high in salts. If that is the case, you probably want to try to use sledgehammer, the product we have to get that salt out of the soils. But you can kind of tell because it'll leave that kind of a white residue after you water if you have a well system. Otherwise, most of your your regular water systems the water's fine. There shouldn't be any issues with most of those. Any questions on water? Yes, ma'am. Harvesting what water?
Water from the brook.
Rainwater. Rainwater is great because it's actually a little bit of fertilizer too. You have some nitrogen in there. Everything looks better after rain. It's because it's all getting fertilized. So I think if you can harvest rainwater, it's a great idea. I know there are rain barrels and stuff that you can buy to help you do that. In Colorado, just because we get everybody's water doesn't mean we can keep it though. It is actually against the law for us to have rain barrels in Colorado. Now, I've never heard of anybody being arrested by the water police, but I don't know what New Mexico's laws are when it comes to that.
They haven't decided yet.
No, really?
It's a question under the compact, whether that's a violation.
Yeah, I think it's, everybody takes our water from Colorado anyway, so it's like, I don't know why we can't at least keep our water up for our roof, but because we don't own the rights to that water.
Excuse me.
I'm just telling you, this is long ago water, water rights things that were, I think, back in like the 1800s were signed, and basically most of Colorado water does not belong to Colorado. Kansas, Nebraska, Arizona, New Mexico, it goes to everywhere. And like I said, obviously it sounds like they're talking about that here in New Mexico. Honestly, I don't think anybody's going to come and give you a ticket or arrest you or anything if you do it. And like I said, rainwater is a great fertilizer too. So yeah, if you can use it, do it. Yep. Did you want to do a?
Let's do a drawing for a T-shirt really quick. Did everybody hand up their ticket? No. Anybody else need to give me one? All right, let's do this. Alan Furby. Yay! Here you go.
Thank you.
Cool T-shirt. All right, continue on.
Okay. Yes, we are very well known for our T-shirts. Normally, every time I call on a garden center, I get all the employees run up and ask me for a T-shirt.
People are already coming up to me and asking if you brought me.
I'm sure they are. I get it all the time. I wish I could give everybody T-shirts. I just can't. Obviously, we're talking about organic gardening, so I'm talking about organic means. And it doesn't mean that I think that synthetics are awful, because again, not all of our products are 100% organic, but I think that with organic means, the fertilizers are much more available to the plant. And you'll see a lot of times, in our fertilizer, you get 6-4-4. Not huge numbers. Most people come in looking for a 20-20-20, Miracle Grow 20-20 or something like that. the thing is with organic fertilizers, you don't need those numbers because the plant can absorb so much more of your organic fertilizers than the synthetics. With the synthetics, most of that just goes away. Just because you're putting, 20 nitrogen on there doesn't mean that plant is absorbing it all. Because I can guarantee you, you do a 20-20-20, you do our grow big, a 644, you're going to see, because I've had my customers do tests and show me, you're going to get more growth from this. And we have, and I'll talk about them now. We have our fertilizer are specialized. I didn't see. I have Big Bloom, Grow Big. I have another one called Tiger Bloom. Oh, I got this false name. But I know they have it inside. We just don't have it out here. So Big Bloom is the only product on there that we're using from seed start or plant start all the way to the end of harvest. Big Bloom is 100% organic. Does not have real high numbers at all. 0.01, 0.3, 0.7. But this is the product that makes all the other products work better. If you use this with Miracle Grow amazingly would work better because it doesn't work that good as it is. But if you use this, the enzymes and amino acids in here are going to make those nutrients more available to the plant. You can absorb more of the nutrients, you can absorb more fat more quickly with using this. And it's also, this is a great houseplant fertilizer. It's just a real mild. You're not going to get extreme growth with it. Grow Big, though, out of our three, is the #1 seller in one. A lot of people think the 3 fertilizers is complicated. I understand. You just want to do one, and Grow Big has a tomato on it, so that's the one I'm going to buy. And that's how it goes. I even have some of my customers that are actually the garden center owners, and they're like, yeah, I just use Grow Big. I don't mess with it all, and I get the best tasting tomatoes I ever get. All right, that's fun. Because you are. You're going to get great results with just using Grow Big. Now you're going to get even better results using all 3 because they all do different things. So that, like I said, the Big Bloom is that activator. That kind of inoculates the soil, gets everything going. Grow Big is when we want to get our leafy growth. That's when we're going to push our leaves at the beginning of the grow season. And then Tiger Bloom's the higher phosphorus product. That's when we're going to push, the flowers and the fruit. There'll be some weeks where you just use Big Bloom. Some weeks you're using Big Bloom and Grow Big. Some you're using all 3. But I do get a lot of comments about how much better tasting people's vegetables are and their tomatoes are when they're using our products. And it's twofold. It's the soils, because of the nutrient value and stuff that's in the soil. They get a lot of flavor from that. And in most of your fertilizers out there, whether you're talking a Fertilome fertilizer, you're talking a Miracle Grow fertilizer, they're all just NPK. They're nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. That's it. You will get growth with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but you don't get flavor.
I'm going to be on Monday.
So, in our fertilizers, we have micronutrients: magnesium, boron, copper, iron, manganese, zinc. Those are the things that are going to help you get a lot more flavor, get disease resistance in your plants and stuff up when you start to get those micronutrients in there as opposed to just NPK. The one thing I will say with because there's lots of different dry fertilizers on the market, all I'd ask you to do is turn it around and look and see what's in it. Of course, you can do that with any of our products, but our dry fertilizers have 15 different varieties of mycorrhiza, 5 varieties of bacteria. I know there's one of our big competitors, Nespoma's out there. They have like 3 varieties of bacteria. That's it. And some of these, again, Fertilome products, great products. We sell a bunch of them. Have none of the microorganisms at all in there. And those microorganisms, we've already talked about the mycorrhiza. We haven't talked about the bacteria. And the bacteria, we had kind of talked a little bit about that before, but I compare it to, say, a baby bird and a mama bird. So the baby bird needs the mama bird to chew up that food first before the baby bird can eat it. So what the bacteria is doing is it is chewing up those nutrients and making them available to the plants. That's why we have bacteria in our products. A lot of people ask, oh, do we sterilize our soils? Absolutely not. Because we want the microorganisms in the soils. So no, we do not sterilize our soils. So that's, that's what the bacteria is in it for. Yes. Some of our other fertilizers that I will touch on real quick. Kangaroots, great organic root stimulator. So whenever you're starting, your vegetable garden, starting any kind of plants at all, 22 varieties of mycorrhiza, 15 varieties of bacteria. So basically, you put it down, it's going to attach to the root system, and the roots are going to get bigger immediately. What's it called? Kangaroos. Yeah, you are, there's a lot of root stimulators out there. Most of them are just, again, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. The thing with those is the roots really have to start growing to start absorbing those nutrients. So they work so-so, but to this, roots don't have to do a thing. They can just sit there, and then they're going to get bigger because of the mycorrhiza. Microbrew is also a very similar product. I created this as a root stimulator. I call this a soil activator. So this is designed around the plant, this is designed around the soil. Again, to get into the soil, get the organisms, basically inoculated into the soil. Both those products are great for, like I said, cutting down on those bad bacteria, bad fungus that cause issues when you're adding the good stuff. Also, this in conjunction with Sledgehammer is a great organic dog spot remover. Or if you, also if you spill fertilizer, stuff like that, the two together, Sledgehammer kind of removes that excess ammonia and such, and then the microbrew will then keep breaking it down after and break down new stuff. So it's a great combination there. Boomerang, so you have a plant that's struggling. You don't know what's wrong with it, you can't figure it out. Boomerang is designed to basically go and repair the root system and bring the plant back to life. Some people compare it to Super Thrive type product. It's 100% organic, mycorrhiza, micronutrients. I can't tell you how many people I've given samples of Boomerang to that say, hey, I had a dead plant, I put it on, and it came right back. So it really does work well. Can also work as a root stimulator too. It just doesn't have quite as many varieties of mycorrhiza in there. Flowers Kiss. This is a foliar spray. All of our products are designed to be used in the soil, so soil application. The Flowers Kiss is a foliar spray. It's a calcium and micronutrient foliar spray. So it's great for blossom end rot, again on your tomatoes and peppers. You will also get insect resistance. Wherever you spray this on, you're going to thicken the cell walls. So you're going to get from things like aphids and mites, sucking type insects. They're going to have a harder time penetrating, so they're going to go to a different plant. Also increase yields, increase flavors on your plants, on your vegetables and stuff. I do want to touch on a brand new product that just came out this week by us. Osuna doesn't have it yet, but most of my distributors don't have it just yet. It is called Bembe. It is a fruit sweetener, fruit and vegetable sweetener. It is molasses, beet sugar, and cane sugar. And basically, a normal tomato is about 6 on a brick scale. Brick scale is a sweetness scale that measures the level of sweetness in a plant or in a fruit. With Bembe, we get that 6 up to a 10 to 12. So we basically double the sweetness and the flavor with this product called Bembe. I'm sure, like I said, Osuna carries all our stuff, so I know they'll bring it in. But we're really excited. The wine industry is looking at it for their uses and stuff, so it's a great product. Molasses has been used by organic gardeners and stuff for years, but the combination of the 3 sugars together make just a huge difference in the sweetening of the fruits. So that's a new product that will be out this year. So next is insects and disease. and again, I feel on the disease end, the more beneficial bacteria, the more beneficial fungus you have around, the less issues you're going to have with the bad ones. It's not that you're not going to have them, but you'll have less issues. If you do have to overhead water, things like that, and you need to do a preventative, or if you just have a history where you get mites every year and there's nothing you can do, you probably want to try to do some preventative things. And there are plenty of organic controls out there. We have one, it's called Don't Bug Me. It's a pyrethrin insecticide. Then there's also neem oil is another very popular product. The neem oil is good because it will do insects and be a fungicide too. Then there's spinosad or spinosad, which is a little bit of slightly systemic. So if you have things like leaf miners, any of the worms, thrips, things like that, the spinosad works real red for those. But the aphids, mites, you know, the pyrethrin or Don't Bug Me or something like a neem oil works well for those.
What's the Don't Bug Me? Is that a...
It's a pyrethrin. Pyrethrin's a natural chemical from chrysanthemums. We also have a spreader sticker in there, so you get a little bit longer residual than you do with other pyrethrin sprays. The other thing I will say about spraying insecticides, fungicides, spray them at night. Sun breaks down most of those chemicals pretty quickly, especially the organic ones. And insects come out at night anyway, so you're best to spray right before they come out. And you know, and like I said, for the other things, I mean, the longer what you're trying to, the stuff that you're spraying, trying to kill stuff stays around, the better results you're going to have. So that in the evening is a much better time, I think, for insecticides, fungicides, as opposed to morning, because like I said, that sun starts breaking down the organic chemicals pretty quickly. Yes, sir.
So what is your opinion on all the homemade remedies for pests, like the hot pepper mix for the ants?
Yeah, the hot pepper wax, and that's you can buy hot pepper wax. I've never had great results with the hot pepper wax. It's like a cayenne pepper spray. I think it works better as a animal repellent than it does an insecticide. But I mean, yeah, I know it's out there. I think some of the ones I mentioned I think are better. I'm not a big fan of soaps either. I mean, they're okay, but I think neem, pyrethrin, spinosad, I think those are the three probably best organics.
So you have to wash those off when you harvest the fruit?
Most of those you can use up to day of harvest on most of them in your farm. Spinosad maybe not, but I know neem and the pyrethrins you can, and yeah, just rinse it off and it's no big deal. And I will say that a lot of people ask about Omri certification. Omri is basically an organic gardening group. We have our differences with Omri. We don't feel they're all on the up and up, but we will have these bottles will have a California certified organic label on them this year, which is a much higher standard than anything that Omri has. So that will be coming on this. Lots of our products will follow, but this is the first one. These guys up here, if you want them. I also do have some samples up here. I've got some kangaroos and I got some tiger bloom. I probably don't have enough for everybody to have two, so come up to me and we'll talk about which one you maybe would rather try. Okay, so you're all done. You've been through your season. Now, if you have diseased or insect-ridden things, you want to get rid of them. Do not work them back into your soil. Do not throw them into your compost pile. You know, if you had a pumpkin or a cucumber that was loaded with powdery mildew, throw it away. Don't throw it in your compost pile. You know, so it's that's one of the big things. Just not that you're never going to eliminate this stuff completely, but if you do some of that, you tend to cut down a lot.
What if you were to do like a hot compost for that stuff? Would that kill all the pathogens and stuff?
If your compost pile gets a high enough temperature, yes, you can. But a lot of times, like fungal spores they're tough. So it's, you know, I would worry still a little bit, but yeah, you can try it. Yes.
What do coffee grounds do for your soil?
Well, I mean, coffee ground, any kind of organic matter, you know, works great. The problem that you run into is if you're going straight to the garden as opposed to your compost bin. If you go to your compost bin, it has time to break down and becomes a much better product. If you put it in raw, what will happen is you can get nitrogen deficiencies in your soils as the bacteria and stuff work to break down the coffee grounds. So I don't recommend putting raw ingredients into your vegetable gardens. Put them in a compost pile, break them down first, and then add it.